Hi, good day, and welcome to SwampTactics. Today we're just going to be talking a little bit because it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video, and we just wanted to kind of go over stuff and how we've been, where we've been for a while, and that we're glad to be back. So I have Aaron here. You guys might remember him from some of our episodes.
How's it going, guys?
Aaron is one of the OG members of my play circle. Yeah, so I brought him here today because we've been gone for a while because we live in southern Louisiana and we got hit by 2 hurricanes, and you know, everybody was already dealing with the COVID and stuff. So, and then,
can't forget the freeze.
Yeah, oh yeah, and the freeze. So yeah, 2020 hit us pretty hard, and 2021 has been a lot better, I guess, so far. You know, who knows how it's going to end up, but I think we're doing a lot better. So that's why we've been gone, because we've been kind of rebuilding. Like, I've been rebuilding my house. Just a lot of people. We've lost a lot of people in our community. I mean, nobody died or anything, but like a lot of people got displaced. Some people moved away. So like, Chill Will, if you're watching this, we miss you, man. But Chill Will moved out of state, and so we probably won't play with him for a while unless he comes and visit. You know, that would be awesome. But so we've lost some members of our community to displacement and people moving away. But we've also gained some new people. So like in some of our upcoming episodes, you'll see some fresh faces. These are people that Aaron has found. Aaron's kind of the leader of our new gaming community. Can you tell us kind of like some tips?
So the biggest thing about trying to begin and grow your community, especially after everybody's gone, main thing, just play at your local LGS. Playing there, you will notice people stepping up to the 40k stuff, stepping up to the Age of Sigmar if that's more your style, and they'll start looking at it. Try to explain to them, talk to them. Maybe they're trying to get into it. Maybe all they do is paint. But if all they do is paint, they might want to try out putting some units on the table. They just haven't had that first introduction into a group to be able to play. Most of the time, they'll agree, or you can give them a number. We actually personally have a Discord.
Yeah.
So
that's been a really helpful tool.
You can use that to organize and try to make a specific day of the week that you all meet up and play.
Yeah, that helps too. Like, finding in your community like a day where everybody's kind of off. Like, I know a lot of people have different occupations and things going on in their life, but like one day where most people get off is a great day for your community to all get together and roll dice. Of course, you don't have to just play on that day. You can, if you have a Discord, you can be like, hey, I'm free today, anybody else free? And then, you know, you gotta go to each other's houses and play on the kitchen table or whatever. Like Aaron, you know, he's got a nice play space in his house, and over here, you know, we've got the shed. So, you know, between us, we can play, you know, a lot of games. But then we also like to play at our local shop too, just to get other people into the hobby. So if you're not like, if you don't have anxiety about talking to new people, man, it's a good practice to go to your store and talk to the owner and be like, hey man, can I, you know, play on your tables, and can me and my friend play on your tables? Because that's a good way for people to network and to build a community. But yeah,
and a big thing, whenever you do play your LGS, you have all your models painted, well, not even just painted, but at least put together across the table. It looks like something is going on. It looks a lot more epic than just looking on the back of a box and seeing a group of models, or looking on the internet and just seeing a table on a line. Yeah,
I mean, those pictures are cool, but when 2 dudes are playing and their guys are all set up, and you know, it can look more, it looks way more cinematic, you know, and then you're rolling dice and getting pumped about them sixes, and you know, so stuff like that is cool to draw people in. Or some people might be like, just painting the models, and they're just waiting for that person to be like, hey, come play, you know. And they might be like, well, you know, I don't really know how to play, you know. Well, we'll help you, you know, we'll help you learn, you know. I'll dumb it down, you know, to 25 power level or whatever, you know. Let's roll some dice, you know. So and that's the other thing, is to be open, I guess, right? Like, not everybody's got 3,000 points, and you know, some of these people just have combat patrols. So, but you have to encourage them and yourself to play those games, and that's fun too. Start a crusade. I think that's a great thing. Like, start a crusade, you know, or a match play escalation or something, or even branch out to kill team. Man, we should do some kill team stuff, but
We do.
anyhow,
We'll play it out of 4th edition.
yeah. But that's where we've been. That's that I'm very thankful that Aaron has put in a lot of work in helping us find new players and stuff, because everybody that he's found is really nice and fun to play with in their own way, because we have guys who prefer competitive play. We also have guys who just play narratively, and that's really awesome too, because I'm the kind of guy who likes to play everything, you know, and having that, you know, well, I could play, you know, a tournament list with this guy, and I could play a narrative, you know, game with this guy. Having those options is fun. But some people, you know, that's the other thing about having a community too, is figuring out who plays what and being open about it. Like, if you're a competitive player and you just like playing competitive, you know, tell people that, and tell them, you know, well, I'm bringing that hurt every time. There's nothing fluffy about my lists ever, you know, and that being that open, you know, is a good thing, having that line of communication, because then your opponent either knows, well, you know, when I go against you, I should either expect to get, you know, have a tough time, or I should, you know, bring one of my best lists and just try my best, you know. Or,
one of the really big things, though, is if you have new players trying to get in and they haven't played a game yet, ensure that you do not bring a crazy list. You don't bring the units that you would even consider in your own list as quote-unquote broken. Bring something fluffy. Bring units that you never get to bring on the table. Something that you think looks pretty. Something that looks cool.
Yeah.
That will in turn allow them to have at least a slightly good time, because they're not getting just destroyed.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they get to look at some beautiful models that you might not even get to do. Like for Necrons, I never get to bring a monolith.
Yeah.
But you know what? Whenever I play against somebody for the first time, I can bring one if they have any heavy weapons, of course.
Yeah.
But it's not going to win the game.
And chances are they're probably going to struggle against some of your weird stuff anyway, because they're new to the game and they don't know the mechanics. But yeah, nobody likes being trolled. Like, that's not fun, and that's not a good way to get into the game. So we try to avoid a lot of toxicity in our community. And in any game that has any sort of competitive aspect can develop that. So, I mean, it's just, you kind of got to watch out for it, I guess. But, yeah, that's where we've been, and that's how our community is. So I hope you guys enjoy watching some of the videos with our new players. They're really nice guys. And then, while we were away, we went to a tournament, like, between, you know, recovering from these hurricanes and building back our finances or whatever. And that was, I learned a lot, because it was my first tournament. I definitely got spanked. I went 0-3. So, but I had a lot of fun. Like, I wasn't there to win. In fact, I just kept telling myself and all of my opponents, I'm here to play 3 games. Like, I got 2 kids. I don't get to play 40K all the time. You know, and sometimes when I'm playing 40K, I got 2 kids screaming at me. So, I mean, it was really fun for me to get out, play 3 games of 40K back to back, and throw some dice. And then, you know, it was kind of stressful, I'm not going to lie. But I learned a lot about my army, and I learned a lot about the way other people play, and some things to watch out for. So, some things to expect when you go to a tournament is the lack of the social aspect.
Oh yeah, we were playing with 2 hour and 30-minute time limits because we were trying to bang out 3 games in from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening.
Mm-hmm. So I like to banter. I like to talk to my opponents. Hey, where you from? You know, how long you been playing 40K? Blah blah blah. But not everybody's there to talk. So don't get offended if your opponent's not the friendliest person. Some people are there to win, you know. So they don't give a crap where you're from or how long you've been playing. They're there to beat you. So, you know, it's hard. It's kind of hard to have fun in that scenario. It's a lot more fun and easier to have fun when you're drinking beer and eating pretzels and playing this game. But in that scenario, it is a little hard to have fun. So that's something to expect, like, and you kind of have to stretch yourself for it, I guess. And then the other thing too is people are going to bring the heat of whatever they think is their best units. They're going to bring them. There is going to be spam, and spam is like where they pick a unit and then they run like 3 of them, you know, and usually it's a nasty unit. So I didn't see like Eradicator spam or anything, but I mean somebody was playing Dreadnoughts and healing, and then we saw like a Necron meta. So I mean, which is stuff you expect at a tournament. Like, people are there to win, you know.
I mean, I didn't have the points for 3 of a unit, but I had at least brought 2 of everything that was busted.
Yeah, which is cool. Like, Joseph brought 2 10-mans of Termies, and that was pretty gross. He could have brought 3, you know, but...
he plays Dark Angels, by the way.
Yeah,
so
he plays Dark Angels, so that was pretty gross. But I myself had fun, but we did notice that it just kind of... For certain people, it can bring the worst out of you, you know, I guess, because there is a huge competitive aspect. And I think, you know, you just got to know that going in. I think the fun part for me was challenging myself, but it is stressful. Go to one, try it, but it might not be your play style. And if it's not, that's fine. Match play is fun. Crusade is more fun. Like, just... find your play style, you know. I definitely want to go to another one. I want to go to a bunch of different tournaments in different places because I'd like to meet other players and experience, you know, what other communities are doing and stuff. But I think we're going to have one pretty soon, and I don't think we're going to, like, record it. I don't think we have the means to do that, but we're going to have one, and we'll probably do, what was it, like, there's ITC, and then there's GW, right?
So I was talking to somebody
that's
who
the understanding. Yeah.
organizes stuff, and apparently there's 2 different ways of running tournaments. The Games Workshop way, and then you have the ITC way. It's undetermined how we're going to do it so far. But we also have a local tournament, which is just our local play group for the coveted local area chainsword.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Got it at a Spirit Halloween, but...
This is our trophy chainsword. Aaron bought it a long time ago, and he threw a tournament, and one of our friends, Patrick Tarver, he won that tournament first, and then he threw the tournament, and Will won the subsequent tournament, and we're probably going to have one this year in 2021, and maybe we'll televise that. I don't know, probably not, but but yeah, so that was our tournament experience. You know, like I said, the more competitive you go, the more toxicity there is. So just kind of expect that. Don't let it get to you. You're gonna, like, I had one guy that I played with that we had some good conversations, and we were talking, you know, about each other's armies and stuff. It was the last game I played. You know, that was nice. I had fun with that guy, and I don't even remember his name. Sorry. But we had like some good conversation and back and forth, and he still kicked my butt.
Which that does bring up a really good point.
Yeah.
Whenever you do go on these tournaments, the first game you can be super serious, but if you lose the first game, you're not going to come in first. You might as well just enjoy the rest of the games.
Yeah.
Like for me, I stayed closer to the top bracket, so every single game was serious, cut and dry. We're playing 40K.
Yeah. Yeah, but he still pulled second, which I'm very proud of him. Like, we went to... He went to a tournament all by himself with none of us. Like, we went... How many people were...
We had 5 people play, but we also had 2 spectators come along.
So there was 5 from our group, and we had 2 friends just watching, which is cool. We had people we knew. We had, like, emotional support, I guess. You know what I mean?
That can matter a lot.
It really did. Like, even if you were having a bad time, at least you had someone to vent to or whatever. Like, the first time he went all by himself, and that really sucked because he didn't have anybody to talk to. He didn't have anybody to talk to in a friendly way.
Oh, I didn't kill a single entire unit for 3 games all day.
Yeah.
That was bad.
That's rough, man. So, but this time he came and took second, and I gotta say that there was a little bit of cheese in some of the play, but that aside, you know, he got second, and so I was pretty pumped about how we did, and then there was an award for last place, and our guy Gene got that award. So good job, Gene. They gave him a whole tank or something, so that was pretty cool. But anyhow, that was tournament, and then I guess the next thing I want to talk about is list building. So like we kind of figured some stuff out. We learned some stuff about list building the more we played together as our community, and we learned some stuff about like competitive play lists, and we've been playing a lot of narrative, so we've also learned about how like narrative lists should be and stuff like that. And I think we learned that there's a difference between a competitive list and a fun list, you know what I mean? So like when you're going to play, even casually, I think it's important to be open with what kind of game you're intending on playing. So, say me and him are getting together and we started the dialogue like, hey, you're free on Saturday or whatever. And then it's like, well, what are we playing? Oh, let's play 2K, right? Okay. What are you trying to play? Like match play or, you know...
well, even past that, usually with our conversations, we go... First thing, power level of points.
Yeah.
If it's power level, you're instantaneously knowing you're probably just going to be playing narrative. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Bring your fun units. If you say 2K, the question goes... Usually if we play 2K, that's guaranteed going to be match play, but we always ask, are we playing tournament or are we playing casual?
Yeah.
If we're playing tournament, we know bring your A game, be serious, this is going to be a game. And few of us can actually flip that switch from casual to serious.
Mm-hmm.
But... if it's casual, you don't need to bring crazy stuff. You can stick around with some of your low units that you never get to bring, like I said earlier. And you can do crazier things inside of tournament play. Try to do your combos. Use characters in weird ways and use your stratagems the ways that your army is intended.
Yeah, like, I think he made a good point. We were talking about this, like, off camera and stuff. But I think he was talking about... You said something about how... Like, when you say you're bringing a fun list, you should bring at least one unit that's, like, dumb. That, like, it's that unit that you've always wanted to run, but you can't because it's not good. You should bring that in the fun list.
Like my Space Marines, I always bring a Storm Raven gunship because it dies on turn 1 every game.
It's huge. Everybody can see it all the time. Like, it dies. But it's cool. It's freaking cool looking. You know, he likes it. You know, rule of cool. And I get it. Like, 6 Eradicators are pretty cool, right? But, like, you know, you don't have to...
That is an overbearing amount of firepower.
You don't have to run that when, you know, or you don't have to run 2 of those, is what I'm saying. You know, like, fine, if you think it's cool, bring it, but don't bring 12 of them or whatever. Ugh, jeez. So I think there's just a difference there, you know. And then some people they just can't, like you said, they can't flip that switch. And if you're that kind of person, then you should just know that and just be upfront with your opponents. Because I feel salty for sure sometimes, you know.
What's really good is over the course of time, once you do build your play group, like we talked about in the beginning, you'll start to learn which players can and cannot play a fun list. Like, there was a buddy of ours that said, oh, I'm not bringing a tournament Tau list.
Yeah.
And he took out the 3 Riptides and put in like 3 Storm Surges. It's the same thing, firepower wise. It's still going to do the exact same thing that the tournament list is intended to do.
Like maybe even worse.
But over the course of time, our play group has learned that player cannot do that.
Yeah.
Thus, we know, oh, we're going to play a casual game with that guy. I still need to bring my A game.
Right. So it's like, it's not like we don't play with him. Well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't played with him in a long time.
He hasn't played in a minute.
But I would play with him. It's just every time I play with him, I know I got to bring some heat. I can't bring anything fluffy, you know. And I think for me, that line blurs a lot. Like, I try to be one of those people who can flip the switch, but a lot of my fun lists I'm just really good with, you know, so I kind of struggle with that. So sometimes I'll just opt to not do the most primarily optimum thing, you know, just so that my opponent, you know, doesn't just get outmaneuvered or whatever.
One very important thing to note, though, whenever it does come to list building for casual or for competitive, some armies, such as Necrons in 8th edition, if you try to build a casual list, like a true casual list, it will never do anything every single time. The way the codex is written, you had to bring at least some heat. So some players may not think you're trying to play casual, but you're just trying to play at the minimum power level that you need to even function.
Yeah. That's very true about Necrons, because their codex, the way it's not doctrines, it's
protocols.
The way the protocols work, they force you to build your army to utilize those protocols, because they are very powerful. But if you're not utilizing them, you're completely wasting them. So you need to bring units that utilize those, and he's very right. Like that's one of those armies where you're kind of forced to bring some units, and they don't have a huge library anyway, you know.
I mean, sometimes you can get around this. Like, for the tournament, I brought a completely off-the-wall list. It was just destroyer cults.
Yeah.
Like, I had every single kind of destroyer on the table. Maybe we'll do a tournament gameplay where I can show off the list.
That'd be cool. We can do an army showcase or something, because I liked your list. I thought the list you brought to that tournament I thought was awesome. I wish I could have played you, you know, in the tournament. You know, I know we've played before, but I wanted to play you again because I like that list. It's mean, but it's not like broken. It's mean and not broken. And I've heard my list described that way too. It's like, well, it's mean, but it also, like, people can take your stuff off the table, so it's like it's not too busted. I like lists like that, and also you kind of got to work for your victories a little. And I like that, you know, because I feel like I've earned something instead of just sat back and rolled, 100 dice or whatever. I don't know, and then just won. You know.
I mean, that's also an important factor, though. Whenever it comes to off-brand lists or lists that are not quote-unquote meta, the local metas do not follow tournament meta.
No, yeah.
So, like, if you go to a tournament and it was... what's going on right now? Drakari is currently the big threat.
Yeah.
So a lot of lists are trying to be able to beat Drakari and beat Death Guard, so they're prepared for that. They have the weapons, they have the technology to deal with that. But you can bring an off-the-wall list that is not the normal Necron list, or not the normal Drakari list, or so forth, and now you've thrown a wrench into their entire plan. They dedicated so much of themselves to try to do that.
Yeah.
The local metas are so random that the top list might be Drakari, but your local players, it's a chaos player because he plays a certain way and he has so much experience.
Yeah, and he really knows his stuff. Yeah. Like, it's funny because it's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember we were talking about what lists we were going to bring to the tournament, and I was like, man, I'm going to bring. I need to worry about Space Marines, so I'm gonna bring I'm gonna bring this list that just kills Space Marines. Like, every gun is 2 damage. I'm just killing Space Marines, right? And we went there. My first opponent was Astra Militarum, and I was just like, I don't even have enough bullets for you. I don't know. What do I do? You know, there's just so many bodies and tanks. You know, so I really struggled. And then my second player was Joseph, and he had a pretty meta at the time Dark Angels list. I'm not going to go into how badly like I did against him. His list was disgusting. And then I played a Necrons player who also had a bunch of bodies, and I was just like...
It was what, like 60 warriors?
Yeah, he brought all the... He invested very hard in reanimation protocols, too. So I was just like... I killed 5 guys, and he's like, okay, 4 get back up. I was like...
4 get back up, and then I'm going to do a thing later.
But wait, there's another option. So
I wish I could have played against that dude. That would have been insane.
That would have, like, Necrons versus Necrons, that would have been cool. So, but yeah, so that's kind of what we've learned about competitive lists versus fun lists. And we're kind of open about that now, like, when we're talking about our opponents. It's like, okay, what power level are you playing? Are you trying something out, or are you just trying to beat me? And it's like, okay, well, yeah. So, and then now we play Crusade a lot, which is really fun. It's like grow your army. So like each of your units get experience. You can buy abilities. It's super open-ended, so like you can play it or not play it as much as you want. Right now we're doing, what is it called?
The Book of Rust campaign.
The Book of Rust. Yeah, it's a campaign. So the campaign is broken down into phases, and different stuff happens each phase. And then you play X amount of games every phase. So it's pretty cool. And then there's like, what is it? There's a system where like the faction, however many wins, like...
So it's divided up into 3 factions. You have Imperium, Xenos, and Chaos. And if your play group has too many of one or too many of another, you can do forced alliances with each other. And the goal is every single game that you win, depending on the size of the game, you'll score so many points for your alliance. So like in Incursion, because we started at 50 power level, Incursion, you score 3 points for your faction if you win. And if you lose, you get 1 point. They also added in, but we haven't done it yet for this one because we're trying to keep it a little bit more simple.
Yeah.
Agendas. So secret agendas that you don't reveal until the end of the game. And if you complete your agenda, then you'll actually score even more points for your alliance. So there's a chance to catch up.
Yeah, I think that's a cool system. Like, especially with how many players we have. So if we had a little bit more, it'd probably be even better because there would be some more balance there. But honestly, it's trivial. It's just a cool thing, like to know, well, Imperium's, got the lead in the galaxy right now, and
or in the invasion,
and turn the tide, and next thing you know, the Xenos are kicking ass. So I just, it's pretty cool.
One thing that's really interesting is depending on how high you come up in the ranking for the phase, the lower you are, the more stuff you get to grow your force, and the higher you place, you get a little bit less. You still get experience to divide amongst your troops, but you don't get as many requisition points to grow your force a little bit more, because at that point, you don't need it.
Yeah. Now, I use Battlescribe. I really don't know if anybody... Do you use the 40K one? Have you ever used that?
The 40K app?
Yeah.
It's so buggy and miswritten, I usually avoid that one. On top of that, you have to pay for it if you want to try to use list building stuff on it. So
yeah,
Battlescribe is free, so I stick to that.
I would have I pay for Battlescribe because you get some cool stuff if you pay. First of all, it's like what, $5 or $6 for the year or something like that. Which I wish GW would have been like, paid this much for the year. Like, I hate having incremental stuff taken out of my bank account. I don't like that. Like, I like knowing. I guess I'm a control freak. Like, I like knowing how much I got all the time. So a once a month, even though, what is it, $5 a month? Something like that. It's like $5. I guess, I don't know. I'm not paying $5 a month. I'll pay, what is it, $60 a year or whatever that is, but no. So if I can't, then no. Like, and I know people have told, well, get a green card, and like one of those green dot card, get a green card, like I'm an immigrant, get a green dot card and put $60 on there, and I'm not doing all that. Sorry, that's
I did
too
that
much
for the
work.
first time over the week, and I actually bought some stuff on eBay, and I bought some STLs for my 3D printer.
It's just too much work for an app that day one wasn't ready, and it has too much like I get it's got color pictures and stuff, but what you need is the data, and what you need is the accurate data, and then so that's why I use Battlescribe, and I pay for it because it unlocks. We're non-spawned or anything, so I'm not like getting sponsored, but it's super relevant. Like, I make battle rosters for Crusade. That's how I keep my Crusade stuff. And then in the notes, if you pay for it, you can add notes and custom tags and all kinds of stuff. So in the notes, I can put experience, kills, matches played, and then I can even further put what all the stuff I bought for them, like warlord traits, relics, and all the requisitions and stuff. So that's why I like, because the format is a little malleable and you can do some stuff. As far as Crusade, it's definitely helped me keep organized. So like I play another Crusade that's like once a month. That's how I've kept that organized. So,
I mean, you can also, if you don't feel like spending money on it, or let's just say, if you don't have a smartphone, you're watching this on a computer, there's also the computer version of the app.
Yeah.
On top of that,
which I also have.
for our Crusade, everybody actually has a notebook.
Mm-hmm.
He does his on his phone. Everybody else, we bought $1
I have my notebook
composition
too.
notebooks.
Yeah, I actually also do a notebook. While I'm playing, I write down, like I have a journal, and it's in log form. So it's like, killed a guy, killed this, and this unit killed that, or this unit died, or whatever. So I do also have a notebook to back it up, because I think when you're using I know when I'm using Battlescribe and I'm entering this information in, you can kind of get mixed up. So having a log, yeah, that's super helpful. Like having a notebook is probably pen and paper is still the easiest way. You're right. And I noticed that like in Crusade, it's I know like most formats punish splashing factions, but I think in Crusade it's kind of fun to do it. But the only downside to it really is A, you're losing CP, which is a normal thing, and B, you might be losing like your faction abilities, which, I don't know, you're gaining another faction's either firepower or support in some kind of way. So it's a give take, and I don't think that's a big deal. Like people are like, oh, you're gonna splash, I don't know, Astra Militarum or whatever with Space Marines, but you're gonna lose doctrines. It's like, yeah, but I'm also gonna gain freaking basilisks and Bulgrins or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's just it's a give and take there. But I think the most off-putting thing for splashy factions in Crusade is the upkeep of 2 battle roster. Well, technically it's 1 battle roster with 2 factions on it, which that can be kind of difficult. And then you kind of, the bigger your army is, the more you spread your experience out, right? So
well, the units will still gain their experience from doing actions just in general. It's just, where do you want to dedicate your agendas for gaining experience? What units do you want to accomplish?
Well, here's my point. Like, if you bring a list, and this is part of like some people doing Crusade meta, okay? So like on your army roster, you're supposed to have every unit you own, pretty much, right? That you have access to. And then if you buy another unit, you have to spend, like after you've started the Crusade, you have to spend RP to add that to your army, right? That's how that works.
Or you can eliminate units.
Or you can do that. That's true. That's a thing. There's other ways. Like you can promote units too. That's another thing he's talking about, like that you could do, or you could take them out and swap them. But anyhow, what I'm getting at is, if you have a huge army roster, there's a way in Crusade you can be meta where, and there's still some balance to it. Don't get me wrong. Like he was explaining, if you bring guys who have Crusade points, which is every time you buy something for them with, experience or whatever, every time you give them a warlord trait or something, they get a Crusade point. And these add up. And if you have more Crusade points than your opponent, he gets CP at the beginning of the game, which kind of balances it out a little bit. It really does. But also not really, because if I'm a guy who has 12 units on my army roster, and I run the same units through the whole Crusade, those guys level up faster than someone else who's running a bunch of guys and switching out his units on his Crusade list, which is perfectly fine. Like if he wants to run, you know, an Outrider with nothing but fast attacks, and the next turn he wants to run a traditional battalion, they're still going to both get experience, but the guy who's running the same list every Crusade game, his experience is going to go up faster. And so there is a little bit of balance issues with his characters being very powerful, having all these buffs on them. Alternatively, though, those guys could die a bunch of times and get a bunch of battle scars, and
you got to spend requisition points to get rid of them,
and be really crappy. So I mean, there's a risk take there, but there's a way, if you're really lucky, you can have a really busted ass army in Crusade. You know.
On top of that, if you're aiming for more of the long game, you can spend your requisition points on increasing your supply limit and adding units. And if me and him played Crusade, and I have 100 power level worth of Crusade units, and he only has 50, in the rules it says we can play 100 power level. We can play a Strike Force mission. Mm-hmm. It's just the other 50 power level he brings will not have any Crusade cards, cannot gain any experience, we're still playing a narrative game.
Yeah.
It's just he's not getting anything for playing those units, but his main 50 will still be gaining a lot of experience and a lot of upgrades.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool too. Like if you don't want to have them as part of your Crusade list, you can still get some, you know, reinforcements or whatever. But he's right, like they just don't gain nothing. So that's pretty cool, yeah. So that's some stuff that like we're enjoying Crusade. I think everybody's having a blast with Crusade.
I told y'all it was gonna be fun.
Yeah, you weren't lying. Like it is really fun. I can't wait to play my next one. And then the other play style that we're gonna try out is RTT. It's Rogue Trader Tournament. It's a match play format that has narrative aspects thrown into it. Basically, it's a term for tournament play that's a lot more loose. Or maybe there are more constrictions that make it more narrative. So the one I was thinking about, I was going to call it Blood Games. And it was going to be everybody who's got a Space Marine chapter of the Imperium variety, of the Loyalist variety, would play their faction, and we would have like a tournament with just like chapters fighting each other. It's basically like the Space Marine Olympics. Like there's enough players in our community to where most of us could play in it. Unfortunately, some people don't have them. Like I don't think Jacob has.
I have enough Space Marines.
He could play something, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. We do like a little fun tournament, just, you know, for the goose. And I was going to apply some list building restrictions, like, what did I say? You can't bring like more than one unit type, except for troops. So obviously, if you want like 6 troops, that's fine. You know,
I can't be dumb and bring 3 ironclad dreadnoughts.
Exactly. Or I can't bring 2 10-man Hellblaster squads or something, you know. Basically, we just want to encourage more variety on these lists and the tournament to just be goofy. Like, it's not ITC backed. These aren't going to go towards your regional score total or whatever the crap. That's the idea behind these tournaments. Like, they're for the goofs, but they're somewhere in between Crusade and hardcore match play. So I think it'd be fun. We're going to try it. In fact, me and Aaron are going to play kind of a beta for it, except we're going to use Crusade game type. So we're going to play Crusade basically like a first game, and then the first game you don't get basically anything. Like you don't get warlord traits or anything. So it's just a one shot, but we're doing it as like a practice for what we might do in the RTT. So I guess keep an eye out for that. But that's all I got to say. You
I don't have anything else.
Want to say anything else, Aaron? Thanks for hanging out, Aaron, and talking with us. We're glad to be back, and I hope you guys will watch our videos. And if not, it's cool. We had fun making them anyway. Like we're playing 40K, so who cares?
Thank you very much for having me back on here, Sergeant So-and-so.
Oh, yeah, man. Appreciate it. Anytime. Can't wait to roll dice with you, man. So we'll see you next time for hanging out with us, and next time we'll roll some dice.